Cartesian equations. And this is the familiar way that we know that we have in orientation and also in freshman. But in Math 201, we have another way. And basically, we express the x coordinate and the y coordinate, x, as a function, and y, the y coordinate, as a function of a new variable. So usually we take the new variable to be t. This is the standard name, okay, t, okay. So we express the x coordinate and the y coordinate of an arbitrary point as a function of t, and y as a function also of t. This new variable t is called a parameter. And the two equations are called Cartesian or parametric equations. Okay. And the curve will be called a parametric curve. Okay, a parametric curve. Okay. So basically, what is a parametric curve? It is a curve described by parametric equations. Okay. So this is basically the definition of a parametric curve. Okay. Usually the parameter t will be in some interval. Okay. Bounded or not bounded, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So this is the basically the brief introduction of what we did last time, which is basically the definition of a parametric curve. Okay. Now, before I continue the recalling, is it clear to everyone? Do you have any question about the definition? It is clear. Okay. Any question before I continue? Okay. 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 Then what is the main question in this part or in this section? The main question is the following. So just let me write the main question as an example. Here. Okay. We give you a parametric equations. For example, x equals 3t. This is the example we mentioned last time, and y equals 18, t squared. And we say t and between minus infinity to infinity. So these are parametric equations. The main question, the first main question in this section is just describe or identify the parametric curve, sketch it, and okay. طبعا last time also I mentioned in the definition, it is always for the parameter t, usually it is a general parameter. For the first encounter of parametric curve, it is nice just to think of t as time. Okay. In general, it is not time, but most of the time really it represents time. Okay. So with t as time, you can think of the parametric curve as a path of a moving object whose location at time t is x and y, where the x coordinate and y coordinate can be found from these two equations, x equals of t and y equals g of t. So think of parametric curves as paths. Okay. So since it is a path, the direction on the path is important. So we ask also about the direction of motion. Okay. And indicate the direction of motion. On the curve. This is the first main equation, the basic main equation in this section. Okay. If not the main equation. Okay. We need to describe the parametric curve given by the parametric equations. We need to sketch and indicate the direction. Okay. For the solution, I said last time we have two methods. Method one. It is the primitive method, it is the simplest method, which is just plotting points plotting points. Basically, plot some points, draw them in the XY plane, and then join by a curve. So for example, I can take the following. Okay, and this is T, and this is X, and this is Y, and this will give you X, Y, the point, X, and Y, the point. Okay. So we take a few points. Okay. You have T from minus infinity to infinity. So take negative values, 0 and in positive values. So I can take minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2, and 2. Okay. Substitute T in the equation for X and the equation for Y. So this is X equals 3T. So when T equals minus 2, you get 3 times minus 2. This is minus 6. When T equals minus 2, Y18 minus 2 squared, this is 72. And this is minus 6 and 70, 72. Okay. You do the same thing for the other points. When you do the same thing, you get in a minus 3, 18. And this is 0, 0. And this is 3 and 18. And this is 6 and 70, 72. I have 5 points, and I just draw them in the XY plane. Draw them in the XY plane. Okay, so this is X and this is Y. Minus 6, 72. This is minus 6 and this is 72. Let me say this is 72. So this is T equals minus 2. Minus 3, 18. This is minus 3 and this is 18. And this is T equals minus 1. 0, 0. This is the origin. T equal to 0. 3, 18. This is 3 and 18. This is T equals 1. 6 and 72. This is 6 and this is 72. This is T equals 2. So look at the points and indicate the time, at what time. Join these points by a smooth curve. So this is what you have from minus 2, minus 1 to the origin, and H to the, okay. And this is roughly speaking the graph, okay. So this is an approximate shape of the graph. It is not really very precise, but it is an approximate. We need only the general shape, okay. So this is an approximation or approximate sketch of the graph, okay. Well, how to indicate the direction? How to indicate the direction? You just go along the curve in the increasing direction of T. Yani as T increases, how the points are moving. So you just go from minus 2, then to minus 1, then to 0, then to 1, then to T equals 2. So you, for the direction, you have always to go in the increasing direction of T. As T increases, as we progress in time, how the points move, okay. So this is H method 1, and this is what we did up to this point. This is what we did last class on Thursday, okay. Before I go to method 2, now are things clear to you or not? Okay. If you have any question at this moment, please ask before I go to new material or method 2. Okay. Yes. Any question before I go to the new thing? Now this is just a reminder of what we did last time. Okay.
واضح دكتور عليك.
واضح. Okay. Now we go to method 2, which is really the main methods in this section. Okay. طبعا here again, يعني in general, you have to keep in your mind. Usually points, يعني taking 5 points usually is not enough to really get the right shape of the curve. Okay. يعني unless really the equations are simple. In general, it is not enough. يعني for other types of functions or parametric equations here, it is always better to take more points, 100, 200, 1,000, and then use a computer, okay. But for many of our cases in the textbook, and for simple function, for simple equations, usually few points are enough, okay. Now we go to the second method, okay. So this is last time. Now method 2. Method 2, you have to pay attention to it because this is the main method that we'll concentrate on. Okay. Method 2. Which is more accurate than method 1. Okay. Method 1. Okay. Method 2, it is based on changing to a Cartesian equation. What is a Cartesian equation? Equation in x and y. The equation in x and y. Okay. To the familiar types of equations that we are familiar with. Okay. That we dealt with in orientation and freshman. So here you have x equals 3t, and y equals 18t squared. These are the parametric equations. You have to change them to a Cartesian equation, to an equation in x and y. Okay. To an equation in x and y. How? I have to remove the parameter. Remove the parameter t. And in x equals 30, y equals 18t squared. I need to change them to an equation in x and y only. Then I have to remove t. Okay. How? You start with the first equation, x equals 3t. Solve for t. What is t here? T equals x over 3. This implies y equals 18 t squared. 18, what is t? X over 3 squared. Okay. So just replace t in the second equation and simplify. You get y equals 2x squared. Okay. So this is the corresponding Cartesian equation. Okay. What is the graph of this equation? Okay. What is the graph of this equation?
Parabola.
A parabola. A familiar graph. So this is one of the advantages. And when you change to a Cartesian equation, usually you will get a familiar curve. Okay. This is a parabola. At least now I know that the graph of the parametric equations is a parabola. Okay. Now, how to graph this parabola? It is a familiar curve, صح ولا لا? So this is the graph without any points, because we know the general graph. Okay. So this is the parabola. Okay. This is the graph. Okay. This is the equation, and this is the graph. Okay. What remains now? You identify it, you describe it, it is a parabola. You graphed it, it is a general parabola. What remains is what now?
Direction.
Direction. Okay. Here, how to indicate direction. Okay. And are we going from left to right or right to left? Okay. And in the positive x direction or in the negative x direction. Okay. So here for direction, you have to use the parametric equation. The parametric equations. Okay. You have to indicate some points. Okay. Take points for the direction. And usually it is enough to take 3 points, t and x and y. Take negative 0 and positive, for example, -1, 0, and 1, and find the corresponding point. If t equals -1 again, so I have to substitute again in the parametric equations. You get -3, 18. At 0, it is 0 and 0. And at 1, it is 3 and 18. So these are the points. So now in this graph, where is -3, 18? This is -3, and this is 18. We say this is 18. So this is t equals -1. At t equals -1, we are here. Okay. Now at 0, 0, this is 0, 0. This is t equal to 0. 3, 18, this is 3, 18. Okay. And this is when t equals 1. Now for the direction, you follow the increasing direction of t. So t equals -1, then t equal to 0, then t equals 1. So this is the direction of motion. Okay. So for direction, you have to choose at least 3 points. Usually 3 points are enough. If you feel you need something is missing, you can take a 4th point. But most of the times, the 3 points will be enough. Okay. But you have to take values of t in increasing direction as t increases. Okay. But this is h. This is the graph. Okay. This is the graph of this, and this is the solution. Okay. And usually we'll choose this method. Always will change to Cartesian equation. Okay. Do you have any question before I go to a second example? Okay. Any question?
No, sir.
Clear.
Is it clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
clear.
Okay. Now we take other example just to see. So example 2, example here. Let's say example. Now I take x equals cosine t and y equals sine t. And we take t in the interval 0 and 2 pi. Okay. 2 pi. Okay. The question is the same as the above questions. We need to describe, sketch, and indicate direction. Okay. This is the main equation solution. Okay. How are we going to do this? The same thing. Method 2. Always will follow method 2. Always. Okay. So change to Cartesian equation. Change to Cartesian equation. Now the question, how to change to a Cartesian equation? How to change to a Cartesian equation? You know how?
Take the cosine inverse.
Okay, so notice the following system. يعني you do as above. فهنا you start مثلا هنا, let me do هنا. You have x equals cosine t. Then you get ht equals cosine inverse x. Okay. The replace t in the second equation, you have the following here. Y equals sine of cosine inverse x. Okay. This is the equation. Okay. Now, what is the graph of this equation? It is an equation in x and y. What is the graph of this equation? How to graph it? Okay.
Doctor, what if we take sine t square plus cosine t square equals 1?
Okay, let's finish this. Okay, and then we go to something else. Now, you have now y equals sine of cosine inverse of x. Now, is this wrong? No, it is not wrong. This is a Cartesian equation. Okay, but how to graph this equation? Can you identify the graph of this equation? What is the graph? Do you know how to graph this? Okay.
No, it's not familiar.
It is not a simple function. Okay, it's not a familiar function. So really, it will not help us. Yani when you change to a Cartesian using this method or this procedure inverse, it will not help you. And في النهاية معناته you have to choose. يعني really, if you want to graph this one, you have to use the techniques of Math 101. Okay. يعني derivatives and etc. Okay. طبعا أو simpler. And in fact, there is something simpler, but خليه in the margin. Okay. But it is not a familiar. So it is better to find another way of changing to Cartesian. Okay.
Can we take the normal numbers like 1 half root 3 over 2?
بس it will not be يعني few points. Again إذا كان تاخذ فقط points خلاص استخدم method 1 then صح ولا لا؟
صحيح.
ما يحتاج change to Cartesian. There is another method which is يعني it will be a perfect one and very nice one. It will give you really a very accurate graph. Okay, which is as one of you indicated. Now look at x. You have cosine t and sine t. Is there any relation between that cosine and sine or not? Okay. Is there a familiar relation between cosine and sine or not? Okay.
Yes.
Which is the basic trig identity.
Yes, cosine over.
Yeah, we have cosine squared t plus sine squared t equals 1. صح ولا لا? This is a familiar identity, a relation between x and cosine and sine. Then just replace now cosine. What is cosine? It is x. حتكون x squared. What is sine? Y. حتكون y squared, which is h1. Do you know the graph of this equation?
Circle.
Circle.
Which circle? Which
Yes,
circle?
circle. With
The unit circle.
With radius
The unit circle. صح. And it is a very familiar function, so you can graph it h easily, okay, without any point, and taking any points. Okay, so this is h, this is the graph. Okay, so this is the graph. So this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis, and this is roughly speaking. And we always need an approximate graph, طبعا. So this is 1, -1, -1, and 1. Using basic trig identities is of help to us in this section. Okay, so this is h, the graph. Okay, so this is the graph of the parametric equations and just the unit circle, a full unit circle. Okay, now direction. How to indicate direction? يعني هنا are we going clockwise or counter clockwise in the unit circle? Okay, how to indicate direction?
Take some points.
You take points. So it is very simple really to indicate direction. Just take a few points. But here, pay attention طبعا.
within a period.
طبعا you have the period هنا 0 to 2 pi. 0 to 2 pi. Okay. So you have to take the first point 0, which is the initial point, and you have to take 2 pi, the terminal point. You must take end points if it is inside an interval, a closed interval. And you need direction, you have to take points. If the interval is closed, you have to take the end point. It is a must. You have to take them. Okay. So here, just you do something like this. So this is t, and this is h, x, y, 0 and 2 pi. Initial terminal. When t equal to 0, cosine 0 حتكون 1 and 0, 1 and 0. So this is the initial point. 1 and 0, this is t equal to 0. 2 pi, when you substitute cosine, you get h 1 and 0 also. So this is terminal, which is the same point, t equals 2 pi. Okay. So the initial is the same as the terminal. Okay. And you need to choose طبعا these, since they are the same points, يعني the direction is not clear. Okay. So you have to take h a third point. Okay. Any point between 0 and 2 pi. For example, pi over 2. Pi over 2. When you take pi over 2, you get h 0 and 1. So this is h. This is the point here, which is t equals pi over 2. Now go from in the direction of increasing t equal to 0, then t equals pi over 2, then 2 pi, and this is h. So it goes counterclockwise. Okay. If you need more, you can take a fourth point. If, for example, pi, if you want just to be in the safe side, but 3 are enough. 3 are enough. Okay. Is it clear or not?
Clear.
Any question? Any question يا شباب؟
دكتور، لو ضغطت على السهمين اللي في الزاوية اللي فوق ممكن تكبر المساحة اللي تكتب فيها فيصير أوضح.
أنا أخاف إنكم ما تشوفون يعني.
لا شايفين كل شيء.
أوكي يعني هذا أوكي. يعني بالنسبة أشوف نفس الشيء. Anyway خلاص. Any question يا شباب؟ Any question before? Okay, let me take another example. Okay. I will take x equals cosine t, y equals sine t. I will take t between 0 and 4 pi. Okay, what is the difference between this equation and the previous equation?
2 period.
Range of t.
يعني the same x and the same y, صح ولا لا؟ نفس الشيء.
Yes.
But the change in the interval. Okay.
No.
Let's see whether we'll have the same thing or not. Okay. First, you change to Cartesian. Okay. To change to Cartesian. How to change to Cartesian? Is it the same or different from the previous example?
Same identity.
Same.
The same exactly. As above, as above, as above. You get x squared plus y squared equals 1, which is the unit circle, which is the unit circle. This is the unit circle. One, minus 1. This is x, and this is y. Okay. Now, so you have a circle, but now what is the effect of? You need to know the direction. You need to know the direction. Okay. How to indicate direction? You take points. So you take points.
Endpoint.
You have to take the 0 and I have to take 4 pi. But 0 to 2 pi, based on the previous example, it has to be of this form. It consists really from 0 to 2 pi, and then 2 pi to 4 pi. This one will give you one cycle, صح ولا لا? Which is the previous example. Okay. So this is as above. حتكون هنا t equal to 0, t equals pi over 2, and this is h 2 equals 2 pi. You have up this direction. Okay. When you go from 0 to 2 pi, you will go one full cycle counterclockwise. Okay. You have to continue from 2 pi to 4 pi. What will happen? You go over again. You cover the same circle twice. The unit circle, covered twice. Counterclockwise.
Doctor.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how can the question come? I mean, I think they are the same, but the only difference, the
covering, the twice coverage. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. If it is multiple choice, you will see the choices. And you are covering it once or twice or once and a half. The choices will be clear. Okay. Okay. So this is this example gives you one advantage of parametric equations. The interval, when you in Cartesian equation, we say x cubed plus y squared equals 1. Just it is a unit circle covered once, but with different values of t. No, maybe we are covering the unit circle once or twice or more. The interval will give you a better description of motion. Are you going along the unit circle once or more or less maybe? Okay. But this is an advantage of parametric equations. Something that is really not clear with the Cartesian equations. Okay. واضح ولا لا? Okay. Now let me give you another example, just on the margin. The same thing here, but I will take now t between 0 and pi. What will happen in this case? Okay, if it is between 0 and pi.
Half circle?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. This becomes just the upper part of the circle. Okay. It's the upper part of the circle. This is 0. This is pi over 2, and this is this is pi. So you are covering the unit circle just to half, or taking the upper part of the unit circle. And notice the interval. The interval will vary the general result, okay, of the parametric curve. Okay. And so varying the interval will give you the various end results. Okay. بمعنى آخر الآن this gives you إنه sometimes when you change كلهم and all of them you will get the unit circle. Okay. The unit circle. But now, will I get the full unit circle? Part of the unit circle. If it is the full, am I covering it once or more? Okay. All of this will be decided by the interval. All of this will be decided by the interval. Okay. Okay. Let me give you another example. Okay. Example here. Example. X equals 4 sine t, 4 sine t, y equals 5 cosine t, and t 0 and 3 pi over 2. Okay, solution. Okay, how to describe the curve and sketch it? Again, we change to Cartesian, change to Cartesian. How to change to a Cartesian equation?
Eliminate the parameter.
Yeah, how to eliminate the parameter? Okay.
We have to divide by 4 in x and by 5 in y.
Okay. And is it the same as the previous examples or different?
Yes, but
It will be an ellipse.
The relation between sine and cosine.
Yes.
I have
It be
cosine
just ellipse.
but cosine square t plus sine square t equals 1. Since, or let me say as, this is we are using this trig identity. Okay, we have this relation. Now what is cosine t and what is sine t? You solve for sine and cosine. Cosine حيكون y over 5, so this implies y over 5 squared. What is sine? X over 4 squared equals 1. Okay. You simplify, this becomes x squared over 16 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Okay. What is the graph of this equation here?
Ellipse.
An ellipse, an ellipse, an ellipse.
The restriction it's from 0 to 3 pi over 2, right?
Step by step, we go step by step as usual. Okay, but this is now an ellipse. Okay, first it is an ellipse. Now we need to graph the ellipse. Okay, how to sketch the ellipse? Okay,
Choose 3 points.
not really. Okay, so pay attention. طبعا this is orientation. Do you need to go and review everything from orientation? The answer is no. Just
نفس البيضة صاير شكلها بتصير لأن 4 0 with 4 and 0 with 5 and the major the axis صفر والصفر الصفر و5 with the y.
Okay. So pay attention. طبعا هنا again, in fact, you can sketch an ellipse without going back to orientation. Okay. How? Pay attention. Okay. يعني you didn't need to know the major axis, the minor axis, what is A, what is B, and it's you didn't need to do this. In fact, there is a simpler way to do it. Okay. All you need is the following. Okay. What are the x-intercept? How to find the x-intercept? Okay. How to find the x-intercept? You set y equal to 0. صح ولا لا? When you set y equal to 0, you get x squared over 16 equals 1. So this means x squared equals 16.
Plus 4 and minus 4.
Plus or minus 4, okay. I have 0, 4, 4 and 0 and minus 4 and 0. So this is minus 4 and this is 4. Also find the y-intercept.
5 minus.
You set x equal to 0. This gives you y squared over 25 equals 1. So this gives you y equals plus minus 5. So 0 and 5. So this is 5 and 0 and minus 5. Okay. Join them because you know the general shape of an ellipse. It is like a circle, but it is compressed or stretched. Okay. Join these points to get HD. So this is roughly speaking. So this is really 4 and minus 4, and this is 4. Okay. And let me take this away here, and let me take this away here. We need the general shape. We don't need the exact major or minor. ما يحتاج. Okay. There is no need. It is an ellipse, and this is the general ellipse. So an ellipse, you can graph it just by finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Very, very simple. Okay. واضح ولا لا يا شباب? This is the general shape. Okay. Is it clear up to here? Okay.
Yeah, it is clear. Yeah.
Okay. You don't need to go to review orientation. It is very simple. Now, what is the next point here? What should we know?
Direction.
and direction, and we'll see whether also the graph will be the full ellipse or part of an ellipse. Okay, like the previous example, is it a full circle or half a circle? The same thing here. For the direction, in fact, the direction will tell you whether it is a full ellipse, part of an ellipse, or whatever. Again, you have to take the initial 0 and have to take the terminal 3 pi over 2 and a point in between. Okay, but this is ايش the column. So this is direction. Just take t equal to 0, and this is x, y, and 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2. Substitute. When you substitute, you get in 0 and 5. 0 and 5. So this is initial. At 3 pi over 2, you get minus 4 and 0. Minus 4 and 0. This is terminal. Where is the t equal to 0, 5, 0 and 5? This is 0 and 5. You are here, but this is t equal to 0. Terminal 3 pi minus 4, 0. This is minus 4, 0. So this is t equals 3 pi over 2. Okay. This is the initial, and this is the terminal. Okay. Now, what is the direction? You need to take another point. Okay. Let me take, for example, pi. Okay, pi. Okay. You take pi, you get h0 and minus 5. 0 and minus 5. Where is 0 and minus 5? This is 0 and minus 5. So this is t equals pi. Okay. So what is the direction? Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise.
Clockwise. Okay. You go in the increasing direction of t. T equal to 0, then t equals pi, then t equals 3 pi over 2. So you go this one. Okay. As t increases. Okay. So this is the initial, and this is terminal. So what about the part of the ellipse in the second quadrant? Okay. What happened to this part? Okay. Is it part of the ellipse or not? Okay.
No.
No. So we just remove it. You remove it. Okay. Off. I removed everything. Okay. So this is H. This is the. This is roughly speaking. Okay. Okay. So the part of the ellipse in the second quadrant is removed. Okay. Is removed. Not part of the curve. واضح ولا لا؟ Usually, through directions, when you take a point, you will see which part of the ellipse or of the curve to be taken. Will it be the full or part of the ellipse? Okay. So this is the first main question in this section. I uploaded the lecture note. Go to the lecture note. You will see more examples. So please read the examples. If you face a difficulty or something not clear, you can always ask later on. Okay. Someone wants to ask something? Anyone wants to ask a question?
Teacher. Why the second quadrant is removed?
What is the initial point? T equal to 0, which is 5, 0. And this is the terminal point. So I will go from 0, t equal to 0, until I reach t equals 3 pi over 2. So I will stop here. I will stop at the terminal point. So I will not go through the second quadrant. This is the reason.
Okay, it's clear.
Okay. Now this is the first point in this section. This is the first point. The second point, maybe I will leave it for you tomorrow. So I don't want to take more time, but it will be in a different way. So okay, خليها بكره يكون احسن ما يحتاج يعني تخليها at least. I don't want to take much of your time, but this is the first point. Always in the lecture note you will have more examples. Please go and read them. If something is not clear, just ask about them later on. This is for tonight. This is for tonight's class. Okay, I see you inshallah tomorrow. Remember study plan, personal study plan. Okay, we talked about last time about study plan or personal study plan in WebAssign. Okay. Now you can, I think it is available now in Blackboard. Okay, there is a link. It is web assign, a link web assign. Below the course content. You have course content تحته ايش web assign. Click on web assign and see what you get. Okay. يعني just check what is going there. If you have any question, you can ask me later on. Okay. So this is ايش for tonight. Okay. So good night. I see you tomorrow, inshallah. If you have a question, you can ask. If you don't have a nice night. Okay, for you. Good night for you. Okay. Okay.
Did you take the attendance? Because I received the link late. I entered the Microsoft team, but I saw the link late. Maybe 14 minutes after the.
No bro. خلاص يعني أنت you joined now. خلاص your name is there. You are present يعني. Okay. Your name is there. Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
دكتور.
نعم.
The cycloid is it with us?
يعني it is not something we memorize, but you should know يعني. Okay. So read it from the textbook. Okay. Read it. See what is the cycloid. At least يعني إنه why do we need مثلا parametric equation? You will see إنه when you read there, you know you cannot really describe the cycloid by Cartesian equations. You do it by parametric equation. Read it, but don't memorize the equation. Just you have to read it, but don't memorize it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome.
دكتور.
نعم.
About the identities, where can I find the whole identities which we will use?
في in your orientation textbook يعني cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. 1 plus tan squared equals secant squared. Cosecant squared plus 1. 1 plus cotan squared cosecant squared. هذول في orientation textbook.
Thank you.
Okay. كلهم يعني أعتقد إنهم سهلين بس you need to recall them only يعني you don't need يعني many or 100 no just few maybe 3 to 4 فقط لا غير يعني.
Okay. شكرا.
Okay. حياك.
Doctor?
نعم.
You say in the past class we have not due time in the web assignment.
Again, can you repeat please your question?
Okay, you say in the previous class we don't have a due date to the open assignment.
Yeah, for the quiz, chapter quiz.
Study plan. I mean.
Yeah. كله يعني في النهاية there is no due date. Yes. يعني you study by yourself and decide when do you want to take the chapter quiz. Okay. Yeah, there is no deadline until طبعا before the end of the semester. Yes, during the last week of the semester you have to finish. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, you are welcome.